what's up, guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this live stream, we're going to be talking about articulation, almost exclusively about articulation. I'll be doing it with my buddy Brian. If you guys are new to the channel, that's his. Well, you'll see it in a second. I'll put it on the thing in just a second. All of his info's in the description down below, and he's a customizer, sculptor, painter, drawer, designer, researcher of of plastics, all kinds of different things. But most importantly, he is a big fan, the biggest fan of the Ocarina of Time link in a very healthy way, I'll be clear to say. But yeah, tonight we're going to be talking about articulation. We'll do a little bit of news in the beginning, and then before we end, we will be announcing our contest, which is, I guess you could say the contest is sponsored. I guess that's the right word, by Big Bad Toy Store. I don't know if it's technically sponsored, however that stuff works. I asked them if they would provide a prize, and they said yes. So that's how that'll work. We'll talk about that more later. But everybody, let me know if everything sounds good, looks good for now. And I'm going to switch over. I'm going to switch over to cam 2. I'm going to turn on Brian's audio so that he can say hi to everybody. That's his username at most places, by the way, in his little drawing of Link right there. And hopefully you guys can see his little voice meter go up and down when he talks now, because I tried
Oh,
to make it a little more interactive. So you are audible now, Brian, by the way, so you can say hi.
hello, everybody. Hello, Mario. I'm gonna be able to see on my end if it shows up as doing stuff, so
It's
be nice.
it's working. That's cool.
It's
I
working.
like it. I cheated so hard to get a voice meter on there for him because I can't use StreamYard.
Oh,
Anyway,
looks good. I like it. I like how it's like collapsed on top of you. It looks nice and visually appealing. I like that.
all right.
Um,
All right, say hi. Say hi to the nice people.
hello, everybody. I'm Brian, as he already said. I'm 24. I do all the things that he said that I do,
And more.
uh, and more. Oddly enough.
Alfonso said, I think Brian's an AI.
Yeah.
The most advanced AI, specifically formulated to deep dive into plastics.
Yeah.
All
Hi,
right. So,
Charlie.
so I think that was enough introduction for everybody. So we can just dive right into the news portion of today. And I
Hi,
want to start
Rachel.
off. What?
I said hi, Rachel. I said hi, Charlie, and hi, Rachel.
Oh,
They're two of my buddies.
okay. All right. So I want to start off with one thing, which I'm not going to even show anything about. It's the figure arts JoJo's Bizarre Adventure stuff. People have been asking me about it, and I'm not going to say much because we don't know much yet. All I will say is it looks like they're all based on the drawing for like the hardcover mangas, which isn't specific to each season or part like the actual characters would be. So like Jotaro doesn't look like Jotaro from his part. It looks like his cover from the collections, and I don't like that. But we'll see. Maybe they'll be okay, but I don't want all of the old characters to look like the new style. So that's going to put me off if that's the case. I'll stick with SAS. Brian, do you know anything or have anything to say about this before we move on to the big topic?
I know nothing
Okay. All
about
right.
JoJo.
Let's Hey, we already got a super chat of 20 bucks. Okay, well we have to hit that right off the bat. How do I do it? There it is.
Well, he said
Oh,
say hi to Brian for me, so that's mine. It's all mine.
what? Oh. No. Nope. His logo is blank. That's interesting. Hey, it's not transparent this time. It changes every time. I don't know how to make these things work. Um Lewis or Louis, I still don't know because some different people say things differently. Herrera, $20 super chat. Thank you, sir. Here's some Marvel Legends money. Say hi, Marvel Legends money. I'll just throw it in the garbage then. Say hi to Brian for me. He has heard all of this, and so it has been said. All right, let's talk about Goku. Let's talk about Goku. That's the most important thing. Before we get into the nitty gritty, which is going to be on the green photo with all the info, I just want to look at some of the pictures, and we'll do that first. All right. So, Brian, are you able to see my screen still?
Yes. Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
we were having some issues, so hopefully everything is.
I think everything is on point. I think this is the most professional stream you can stream on the interwebs. There is a box at my feet though, and I keep kicking it. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about on this Goku, it's the absolute first thing that caught my eye. I'm not a hater. I just have to say that paint job on the pants is enough to make me angry. That looks terrible. And if they keep it like that, that's going to be a big problem for me. And I'm guessing for a lot of
I like
people because it's dark shading where it shouldn't be. And it's way too bright and saturated and splotchy. I don't like that shading at all. What do you think?
um I think the sculpt is really good. I'm not gonna buy this, but uh, the only Goku I want is a really specific version of him going Super Saiyan the first time. So, but I
Yeah,
know I do have a buddy Brian who loves how this looks, and this is like what he's wanted the whole time. I do think it
I like
looks
the
good.
sculpt.
I don't understand the pants either. I don't. Why is it red?
That's
What's
the
it referencing?
thing. I don't the pants look terrible to me. The paint. So okay,
There's
the
got to be.
paint's out
It's
of the
got to be
way.
something. It's got
Maybe.
to be something.
Or it's just Bandai screwing up so they can sell another 15 Gokus. I don't know. I don't know. But let's move on. Why is it not going? Oh, I'm clicking the little circle. That's from the screen capture, you moron. There we go. So yeah, I think the sculpt looks really good overall. The sculpt is really, really nice. Like Brian said, it has a particular look to it, and if it's one that you like, it's gonna be wonderful. I agree. I'll talk about the joints in a minute, but the overall silhouette, very pleased with. Like it a bunch. And Brian already commented on that. So let me move on. Well, actually, no, let's talk about the hips right now. I know some people are saying, yes, love these hips. They don't stick out like Trunks' hips, which I will say that's true. And it only goes to support everything I've been saying and everything Brian's been saying that the Trunks hips should not have been the way they are. These do look significantly better. Brian, how do you feel about these hips though? With the chaps look, even though they don't stick out, is that good enough for you, or are you still thinking that that's not how to do it?
Well, I don't know why they're there.
That's my
They're
thought.
they're just going to be annoying because they're going to like they're going to go underneath or over on top of the diaper occasionally, and then it's going to be like, oh, okay, I got to finagle with this to get it to move right. I think stuff that's easy to use is the best, personally.
Yes,
But
I
we
agree.
did get a super chat.
I know. I'll hit it in just a second. I agree. I think the only way they must be doing this to hide the thigh swivel, but it only hides it from the side, and I don't think it helps anything from the front. I think it makes it busier in the front. I don't like that, and I don't like it for the reasons you said. It's gonna get annoying, and so that's gonna be annoying. So, okay, let me hit those super chat, and I think there were two of them.
Yeah, they're from my buddy Rachel.
Okay, well there that one's empty. Well, thank you,
Yes, the one that they, but
Shoku
then the
Jupiter,
second one. This is like
and
if my
then
dad was on the news. Thanks.
like if my dad was on the news. All right, and that one's not transparent. Or that is transparent. The text. I don't know what's happening with the transparency. I can't help. But cool super chats. Thank you for the super chats. Brian is bringing in all the money, and that so the hips. I don't love them. I really don't think that's the best way to make the hips look because it makes them busier than they need to be, and they will be annoying to pose. I suspect because as you can see, the crotch piece is flexing quite a bit to get over that.
Yeah,
So if you're not tucking it
but I
in
think you don't even
manually,
need to.
it's gonna go over. What?
Yeah, it doesn't need to.
Nope.
It's so silly.
Serves no purpose. Really not a necessary thing. All right, I'm trying to do the DM circle again. It's over here. All right, let me click this and move on. This points out the ugly, ugly paint job on the legs again, which I think is just ugly, but I wanted to talk about the knees. I think they're onto something. Those knees are very similar to the Figure Eyes model kits, and they're not
Yeah,
dissimilar to the Play Arts Kai Ibuki or even their what's that guy's name? The guy from Dragon Slayer. I can't think of his name right now that they just released in Figure Arts form. It's a fine concept for a knee. Well, a single joint for baggy knees works just fine if you do it right. Theirs looks
yeah.
awfully bulky though. Like I the part on the outside seems way too thick and like it's sticking out. You shouldn't be able to see it over the rest of the leg. So like that's a minor thing, but if
I
you're
did
gonna
see
do it,
some people upset. They're like, "Why a single knee?" Like, well, single
yeah.
knees are fine. You're not getting the most. But I will say that the range on them is not what I expected. You can
No, if
definitely
this
get
is the
more.
max range, that's just past 90. And so they're gonna be
They showed
banking
the
on
max.
that other joint.
I think they show the max in the one green photo where they're like,
Oh
"Oh, we're
yeah,
doing a
yeah, we'll
cat."
get to that. So yeah, so far it's like it is probably better than previous Gokus. The
Oh yeah,
knees have been a problem for a long time. I'm not sure this isn't where they end. Let me just put it there. This needs a lot of refinement. And they did it. They did it. What is that guy on Demon Slayer? What is his name? I can't think of it. He's got the checkered shirt.
Tanjiro,
Tanjiro, yes, Tanjiro. His knees look way better than this, and they function better than this. Like they already did it. They've done it before, so that's a bummer. And that paint job, especially with the paint job dying at the knee bend, that that looks that's cut rate. That's not good. As soon as you bend the knees, you get a bright sunspot. I don't like that. So we'll see. Like this is obviously a prototype. It's going to change, but there's the knees again. I do like that he can supposedly do this pose effectively. It's not that they're cheating, so that's why I wanted to look at this image. Supposedly, because of their, we'll talk about this, but because of their new shoulders, he can do this, and it's like, okay, well, I guess we'll see. But that's good. Yeah, if he can do this pose, nobody has been effective at doing this pose yet. Like no Ryu figure, no Goku figure, not really has been able to do this pose. Maybe the Maximum Hulk. I don't know. All right, let's move on. This is the other thing I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if it's just the lighting or if it's just because it's a prototype or what. And I know people are going to tell me, hey, it's an anime, it's a cartoon, you don't get all the muscle groups. Yeah, you do. They draw them, and this guy's missing a muscle group. I can draw it. I forgot. Haha. Haha, I added a new program to my computer, and now I can show you guys things better. There should be a line right there, basically. So you have one muscle group here, one muscle group here, and then the tricep coming down here. And he doesn't have that. I love this app, by the way. That makes me feel fancy. They don't have that unless it's just the lighting or because it's a prototype. If they fix that, great. That would be wonderful. But if they don't fix that, then I'm going to hate it because they draw the muscles on Dragon Ball characters and it should be on the figure. Okay. So that's
It's
enough of me
interesting.
ranting. Oh, go ahead.
I'm looking at like the sources for this time of Goku, and it looks like they're not drawing that section.
No kidding. Really? This
Yeah,
is Cell
even
Games.
Gohan. Yeah, Cell Games Goku.
No
It's
way.
weird.
All right, we're gonna
Not
Google it.
yeah. If you yeah, it's weird.
If that's the case, then I guess I have to give it to him. But I don't accept that personally.
It just they just have the
Okay, well that one right there shows him not having it. That one right there, well, I guess not really. Well, okay, I guess I have to give it to him, but that's the worst thing in my life right now, I think. I hate that. Here, they have it there. They have it
They do
right
have it there.
there. I'm right, I can
So
claim
it
it.
seems like it's either or. So I think
Yeah.
I would personally like.
I mean, like, it's not gonna keep me from
No.
buying the damn thing, but it should still be there if you ask me. Because, like, they cut out a lot of things in a lot of shots, so you have to I don't know, I guess I have to be oops. No, 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 no. That was not necessary. Um, I guess I have to let it slide. If it's not there, it's not there. That bothers me a lot on the inside, though. Well, that's just anatomically screwed up like you wouldn't believe. Okay, I guess I'll give it to him then. All right, fine. Get rid of that then. Wow, that's bothersome. All right, you win.
Is it
Everyone
on
else
Gohan?
wins. If that's the old Gohan, yeah, which it should be. I don't think it's a new Gohan.
It is
I
well.
could
That's
look.
that's the Gohan from like a year or two ago. Am I supposed to look? Okay. Oh, he's going looking. Okay.
I don't know where it is. Can't find it right now. But I reviewed it,
I'll
and I
I'll
could bring
I'll,
up the
I'll, I'll,
review.
I'll
Okay, he's gonna look it up. I'm gonna move on to the next photo. But yeah, so I guess it's accurate to the source, but that boy do I hate that. And they'd have to make new arms for every other figure. All right, we need to talk about this. This is the spec sheet. This shows the maximum range. We'll start with the knees since we already talked about the knees. Goodness, this works out perfectly because this is an articulation video. These knees,
like they knew. They did it for us, Anthony.
I know. I have pull. I said, hey, Bandai, listen, we're going to be talking about articulation. So can you release your new thing? Show us your new thing. Release the photos. And they were like, sure, no problem, boss. They call me boss. It's pretty cool. Anyway, the knees definitely don't have a deep bend. at all. So this is not as good as a lot of the knees that have looked like this, even from Bandai. So again,
They could have just made it
it's an
collapse
improvement. Yeah,
from
they
the
could
back.
have a little flap.
Yeah.
I'll I'm not gonna bother
But
drawing
instead
it.
they were like, "Oh, but we should put in the shin articulation."
Well, yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. Is it looks to me like they're banking on this part. Maybe I will
But
I
it's
draw
not
it.
doing much of anything.
So I'm
It's doing
thinking
something.
they're counting
But
on this down here, this fold. I guess I don't need to draw it after all. They're counting on that bend of the calf to give you your deeper knee bend, but it's not. Like it's already doing it. You can see it's tucked in right here. So this is the maximum knee, including the calf, as far as I can tell. You can see the red's tucked in. So that knee joint is not good. It's not bad, but it is just it's better looking than the previous knee joint, but that's it. So they need to fix that. And then the shin joint, the way they've done it looks terrible. This gap here looks really bad. Like that can't be the way it's going to be, right? There's a huge chunk missing.
it's weird because it's like they're just pushing it too far forward to show that it's working, and it's like you could have just pushed it back.
But then it's not going to do anything. It's just going to be basically straight. If you push it back, that's like, I don't know, 10
But
degrees.
why
That's
would
going to
I
be
mean?
mostly straight.
Well, but it doesn't need to bend forward, does it?
Well, if you're counting the pants to be baggy, so like if you want it to look like he's swinging his kick forward, so the pants are like blown
Oh,
back,
okay.
you could do that if they did it right. That's what I was thinking they were going for. But to me, that looks janky as hell. So I guess again, we'll have to see. But to me, this is like ideas. This is a concept and not where it's going to end up so far.
Are the ankles fixed? It doesn't look like it. Looks like the
I,
ankles are gonna,
I
not
can't
gonna
tell.
like
They
look like
didn't
they did
mention
again.
the ankles at all. I don't know.
They
Like
should have focused on that. They've been focusing it on the Sci-Hos and stuff. The new Sci-Hos have like really good ankles. The
yeah, the
figure,
freaking ankles on the Dragon Ball figures have been terrible forever. And they're just not going to do anything. All right, before we go to more interesting things, I want to talk about the neck extension. That's an interesting thing to add.
I
This
used to do this
area,
on my old customs.
but did you need it to go up and down or did you leave it in one way to
No,
make it
I needed to go up and down depending on the pose. So I do think this is an like. Do I personally want this? No. Do I want this 10 years ago? Yes. But I don't like extendy thingies at all. But I
yeah.
understand if you want to be like dynamic to different sources and stuff, and you want more range for some things, I get it. But um I would just pick a spot personally, but I understand the reasoning behind it,
I
even if I
agree.
don't.
I agree. Here's what I'm concerned about. How many of their Dragon Ball figures have they released where the neck has a giant gap around it? Or it looks really goofy when you pose it because it creates a gap, or it's got like a shelf or weird stuff. They're gonna have to really finesse this for it to be a worthy thing. If it's gonna look terrible
Yeah,
once it's up,
because if it's pulled up, yeah. Yeah,
I
you're
don't
right.
like
Because
that.
when I when I did it on my old ones when I was young, it did look bad when it was up. So, yeah, you're right.
So it could be good. I like where they're going with it. It doesn't hurt anything if they do it right, so that's fine. Um, let's talk about the waist, and then I want to talk about the shoulders. So
I really like the waist articulation.
yeah, I
The waist
wanted you
is
to
good.
go off about the
Because
waist. Talk about
they
the
put it in,
waist.
like, a good spot finally. You put it where you get the most like, you just put in a sphere, and you're just like, "Okay, I can define the range from this point." And that's all
Hmm.
you do, but on all of their figures, you're like, "Okay, let's put in a hinge in the back for some reason, and then
The
do all
freaking
this stuff."
hinge.
You can just do a single ball sometimes and it's fine, and this, it looks like it's just mostly a single ball from one point, but then the bottom thing looks like it's also shifting. So it looks like it's a
Yeah.
hinge going to, like, a single ball. And that's great,
Hmm.
though. And this is probably, like, probably gonna be one of the most fun to pose and, like, easy to pose torsos that they've done.
I
Um,
suspect so. I think it looks pretty good. I think it looks really nice in the neutral. I mean, as much as we can tell. Like you can't see the cut at
because
all, so that's good.
I think what I would have done is probably, like, have it so that the orange tucks in more when it's bent forward, to make it look like the belt is, like, protruding outward.
Well, I think it might be. I think the belt. I mean, if they do it the way I would do it, the belt is still going to be a floating piece, and so it hopefully is gonna be like they're gonna, like, nest together is what I'm hoping. It doesn't
Okay.
actually look like it in the bendy photos, though, so maybe maybe not, maybe you're right.
I don't know.
But I
I
wanted
still
to
like it
say
though. I'm okay with some shelving personally because I really like single joints in spots. I think some shelving on torsos when it's like, especially if it's baggy clothing, it's like, well, I can imagine that actually happening. But when it's like somebody's anatomy, it's harder to say, oh, that makes sense. Just
yeah.
like tight,
The only thing I
like
don't
super.
like about it is the back, and it looks probably fine going backwards, but when it goes forwards, it looks real bad, so I'm hoping you can adjust the belt to lift it up or something to kinda hide that gap. Because when you lean him forwards and look at him from the side, which you might wanna do, like, a lot of people pose their Goku's getting punched in the gut, so he's hunched over like that, and it's gonna look bad. It's gonna look real bad if it looks like this, so hopefully they finesse it. I think mostly their torsos haven't been great on Goku's, so this is good, but I guess there's a lot to see, how they actually implement it and how it functions. Alright, let's talk about the most interesting part. I
Oh,
wanna
the
read this.
patent.
I need to read this. I need to read this. Uses our patent pending dynamic movable shoulder system. Dynamic movable shoulder system. You mean shoulder
Ugh.
articulation. Like, that's the most legalese garbage I've ever heard. Flexible materials in the doogie or dogi around his upper chest allows Goku to bring his arms together without disrupting his muscular silhouette and even raise his shoulders. So flexible
What are they?
material. Is that
What are
it?
they
Is that their
patenting?
patent?
Is it the very specific combination of flexible material with where the joint is placed? Because we're already doing that, and this is stupid. I don't think the patent's
Also,
gonna go through. I
who
don't
the
think it's
hell
gonna
gets
be
patents
enforced.
on articulation? That's never a thing.
Yeah,
That's like
I think, like, simple engineering solutions should never be patented, in my opinion.
no,
It's like
that's crazy.
patenting the door. Like, come on, don't do
Well,
that.
yeah, that's why articulation people used to ask me this, like, maybe this brand uses this because they have to. No. No, no, no. None of these ball hinges and swivels and pivots and all these things are patented. It's just a ball socket or a peg going through something. You can't patent that. So, what is going on underneath this soft material that is patentable? There's no way.
It's
Are they just
magnetic.
are they trying to what?
I'm lying.
Oh, I thought you read something. I'm like, that there better not be, because what the hell? Yeah,
I
I don't
actually
see
like
this. This
magnetic
sounds like
joints,
craziness to me.
but it would pop off. But
Yeah, and pop off all
magnet
the
points would
time.
actually probably solve some of their issues in some spots. Like, if it I don't know,
All right,
but
so let's
I
talk
don't.
about what we see here. I want to talk about the neutral pose looks good. It's fine. The arm going up pose looks better than normal. Half of them can't even raise
Yeah,
their arms, so this looks good. The crossed
yeah,
arms going across the chest thing, that looks pretty good, except if you look at the angles, he's going way up, like up by his collarbone rather than his pecs. So that's
yeah,
not even that big of a deal. Like lots of figures can raise their arms up like this. They can't raise them across their pecs. Any of them, like any Mafex figure, can go up across the clavicle. So
so
maybe it'll just
it's
look better, which
clear
is fine.
it's clear that the flap, the shoulder sleeve thing can rotate with the arms, which makes sense. Of
Yes,
course you do. But
that's necessary.
it's
Yeah,
interesting because it almost looks like it's obviously it's just because of how it of where it is, but it's like in the bottom photo. It feels more like it's just incorporated as a part of it that's just like an excess, and then the second one is like, oh, here it's a flap that's separate, or the top one it looks like it's a flap that's separated
yeah,
in the back. It looks cool
yeah.
on the bottom. I like this like, but I imagine it's difficult, and I know obviously this is one of those things where it's like we haven't seen more than a few photos. We gotta wait. Um,
Yeah. Well, that's to be understood for all of the speculation that we do on anything ever. Like we can only go on what we see right now. Otherwise, we'd have nothing to say. So, it's promising. Like I have no problem with it, other than that they're trying to say it's patent pending dynamic movable shoulder system. That sounds like Hasbro's playbook of making up new words for things that already exist. Dynamic movable. What the hell does that mean? Isn't movable dynamic by nature? By definition? Dynamic movable shoulder
I think it's
system. It's a ball
think it's
socket.
I think it's a Japanese using English as a gimmick.
You think?
Yeah, because I have the Japanese one somewhere. Hang on.
Dynamic movable. They're really happy with that verbiage. Dynamic movable shoulder system. It's a shoulder joint. Alfonso says it means price hike. I heard somebody say it's $35. I have no idea if
Yeah,
that's true.
in Japanese, the only thing in English is dynamic movable shoulder system. So I think it's like a English gimmick thing, and they're just not fully understanding what. So in that case, I get it, because a
Well,
lot of that thing sounds redundant.
except they do have to have it be something patentable. So they have to try to sell it as something. Like they can't go to any patent office and say, "Oh, it's a new ball socket." They have to come up with some BS. So
You can if they have like I think because like Lego bricks are patented. If you just do
Yeah.
something with like sizes, you're probably fine. And then it's like, okay, so you patented the specific size of this one toy. Why? That's weird.
It's so
I don't know.
weird. Plus, it's like how specifically patented is it? You mean nobody else can do
Patents,
soft plastic with a joint inside? Like they definitely
yeah, patents
can.
are usually stupid. Like this is stupid.
Yeah, this
This
whole
is
thing is craziness. It looks cool. Don't get me
It
wrong.
looks
I
cool,
like
yes. Yeah, I think this thing looks awesome. I'm not getting it because this is not the Goku I want. I know people who are getting it. This thing looks good.
yeah,
And it is definitely a, an improvement in
for
a
sure.
lot of areas. I still wish they'd focused more on the ankles
The
because the
ankles look
ankles
like
look
they're
like
gonna
probably.
suck. And the
But
paint.
like
And the
his
paint.
sculpt looks good. I like it more than the past Goku sculpts. Some of them I like the Awakening Goku. I think the most still, but this one
What
still
about the
looks really good.
hair? He's got the deep
And what
grooves. I'm not into the deep grooves personally. Is that super
that's what he
accurate
looks
to
like in the
cell
cell games.
games? Does he?
In the cell games, yeah. I don't like cell games Goku.
I don't
I
know
think
that he had like sometimes he does. Does he have deeper grooves?
oh, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
It's like they're really super
Sometimes.
inconsistent, so I don't know that you have to put him in there. Like he doesn't have any really. He's got a few lines. So I mean sometimes. Even in their own stuff, it's pretty basic. So I think you can get away with it. I personally don't like the deep grooves. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but I personally like the bigger floofs that are smoother. I want them to look more like 2D animation. That's my thing. Okay, I think we're probably done talking about Goku. I think the worst thing about it is the painting on the pants, and that's easily fixable. So hopefully they do that, and then it'll probably be a pretty spiffy figure with lots of room for improvement, but lots of improvement over its predecessor. That's my final take.
Yeah,
Now we need
I
to talk
agree.
about articulation. That's our whole goal tonight. So what we're gonna do, guys, is this is gonna be a very loose um conversation about articulation. We're gonna get into probably some nitty-gritty type stuff, some technical jargony type stuff a little bit, but I'm not gonna just compare different brands. We're gonna talk about the actual joints themselves as much as we
Yeah, I'm
can.
not. Yeah,
And the branding doesn't matter because any brand can do anything at any point, unless it's patented.
yeah,
So,
of course. Like the new
how do
dynamic
you
or awesome
dy-
system.
dynamic, movable, superposing? Like, isn't the SH Figure Arts thing already like superposable something or other? Like, they already have some verb. Anyway, what do you want to do first for the articulation? Because I know there's a couple things I want to talk about, and I want to know what you want to talk about. And we haven't really planned this out. We just figured we'd wing it and have fun
Yeah,
with
we
you guys.
didn't plan it out, so that means also I don't know. But also, what we can do is we can just pull up anything we want.
Someone said start with
Uh,
neck joints and how long hair affects them. Well, I think you pretty much summed it up. You summed it up right there. Long hair can get in the
so
way. The softer the material, the better.
Anthony has covered neck joints extensively in his videos.
I did actually. I have talked about neck joints a lot, and neck and torso. So probably don't need to. If you have something specific, we can talk about that. Otherwise, I want to talk about one specific thing that isn't. It's more of a universal thing, so it might be a good entry point.
I don't have anything specific at first, so
Okay, I'm gonna bring the whiteboard thing down onto my screen. They'll be able to see it. There we go. Can you get your naked man to the middle? How do we do this? Know how to move that?
Hit control minus. I can't move him, but you can do control minus, and then
That's good
we have a
enough.
big.
All right, that's good enough. So let me get my drawy thing on here. I'm gonna draw what color. What color do you want to be?
I like green, but you
Oh
like
man,
green.
I don't like green. I'll use orange or red or whatever color that's supposed to be. I want this bigger and in the middle. Can I drag it? I'll just move it over like this. That's fine. All right. So one thing I want to talk about. This is a universal thing for simple joints, simple pinned knee joints and elbow joints. Particularly Hasbro's variety, but lots of companies use joints like this. McFarlane's using joints like this. Like it's a basic joint, not an import thing, but it's still relevant because, like I said, lots of companies use joints, and Hasbro's not going away anytime soon. Um, I, it used to be like this, but nowadays they do it differently. Nowadays, I don't know if I'm going to be able to draw on your little man as much. Hey, you're moving around on here. This is like a video game. All right, I'll draw it like this. So for your joint, I'll draw a knee joint. All right, you have your disc in the top, you have your disc in the bottom. All right, and then you have like a kneecap. Let's just say that's a kneecap. All right. So then you have your
Oh,
leg on this side.
beautiful.
All right. I'm not a drawer, but this is more to get the point across. All right. So this is going on the inside, obviously. Whatever. So Hasbro does it like this, and McFarlane kind of does it like this. They do square joints, and they do that so that they have no gapping in the front. But when you bend the knee, you end up with a big square. What the heck? Where'd my thing go? There we go. So when you have this type of knee joint, the pins go through here, by the way. Oh my gosh. No, 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 no. I mean, so the pins are going through here, by the way, in case anybody wasn't clear. All right. So when you bend this, you get these big flat surfaces that make a big square, and it's not good looking. The best way to do this, I'll just switch colors, is to do this. You round them out. That's how Toy Biz used to do it. That's how I'm doing it, which means it's obviously the right thing. And so the downside is you get this pinch. So it's not as perfectly aesthetically pleasing from the front because you have a little bit of a
It looks
gap
so
here,
much better
this
bent.
V shape. But when you bend it, it looks like infinitely better because it rounds the joint out. It makes it come to a point, sort of, rather than being just a giant square of plastic. Now, the reason this happens, and of course, I don't know for sure because I don't work at Hasbro, but I can tell you as somebody who knows how to model digitally, 3D modeling, they do it that way because this requires sculpting. Putting that purple line in there requires sculpting. You have to cut the joint and then re-sculpt it. Whereas this square joint doesn't. You just use a cutter and you cut every joint and there's no sculpt work. It's a flat surface all the way around. And if you look at your Marvel Legends, they even have like a little extra box cut out in there. Like it's worse than no sculpt work. It's even more mechanical and garbagey looking. So my take on it is that's absolutely the wrong way to do it. It's cheaper, it's quicker, and it has a slight benefit from the front view, but that is it. I guess the back view too, technically. But that is it. It is the worst option you can do for a pinned joint. You can do that for arms. Biceps and elbows are the same thing as the leg here. This could be any joint that's like that. It should be rounded. That requires a lot more work. They don't want to do it, but it looks way better, if you ask me. All right, Brian, do you want to talk about that at all?
I want to mention that it sucks that because knees do this thing where they're like down here, it's more like here's the pinch and then here's the knee, and then when you bend it, it's like this, and then this starts to indent more towards this. It's just kind of a shitty situation. Elbows are so much more linear because
Elbows are definitely easier, yeah.
and when you start stylizing these, you can start making these things bigger as they go down. Actually, I can just draw it on here. You can start making these things bigger, and then you start making like the feet bigger and stuff. And that's just usual. That's usually what happens because this is realistic. I drew this to be realistic. So but yeah, it sucks sometimes. It's like, oh man, I can get rid of that. But yeah, one of the things I want to mention too is that obviously there's obviously the difference between the. I'm going to change the size of this. I need this to be smaller. The disc ones. The disc ones are good, and they save money. In that you don't have to build an entire unit, like a whole joint that's like this. Oh, this big thing that we need to do.
Yeah.
Instead, you have this thing that's like this. But it's also a little more stable if you do the stuff right. But what you do miss is that, like, if you have a knee from the side.
Oh, hey, hold on. Before you continue, can I get this stupid black box off my screen that has GIF and other things? Do you know how to do that? Because
I don't know.
It goes
You
away
can zoom
when I'm
out a little
doing.
bit more.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to. Why isn't there more functionality in this? There we go. I don't want it to be too small for everyone watching, but that should be okay.
So, where is the eraser?
There's no erase. You have to click on the line, and then you get to click the garbage can. Here, let me get my thing out of the way.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, it's not a great app. This is Discord, by the way, everybody. It's not like it's
All right,
made for what we're
gonna
doing.
switch to something else. We're gonna do something else because we don't need to use Discord. There's all these other things that we can do.
This is working well enough for now.
For today, this is fine. One of the things about the discs is you're stuck with this. No, you're stuck here in this area, and so when you bend it, and you can make it look good. You can make it look fine. But let's say you have like a really thick leg, and you're like, oh, we're drawing into each other now. You got like this really thick leg. It's this big chunkus thing. Maybe thicker. If you start putting them like big, you wouldn't do it like this. Well, now when it bends, it's like this, and then it's the big peanut thing. It's like that. It's like,
yeah, it gets really chunky. That's why they need to be rounded. What he's talking about lays right into what I was saying. If you make them squared off like Hasbro or McFarlane, it's already too big. You can't get around it. It gets even bigger and chunkier.
The great thing about not having to do discs and then developing like, oh, let's say I'm going to make this thing where I'm going to put a joint that's like in here and down here, is that you can offset these joints somewhere else, and then you have a different center of rotation, and it intersects with the other one, and that way, so let's say you have it offset down here and offset down here, like on a figure arts or something. You could even put it in back here, but you probably wouldn't because you don't want the calf to hit the other thing. Depending on how you have it set up, you've now got a setup where when the thingy thing bends, it's more like this instead of being protruded up here like this.
Yeah, you can get that point a little bit better.
And so that's why it makes sense to do all these different styles. What sucks is when you do like a figure arts one, you start to lose structural stability. So it's kind of like, do you really want to sacrifice that if you have a thicker joint? The answer is, well, it's already thick, so you probably don't have to sacrifice much. So for chunky things, that's good. But again, it depends because it's like because you have to assemble those joints separately. It's like it's its own thing. Like, oh, if I have to make this thing that's this piece, and then I gotta put in this piece down here that's connected up like this. Then I have to put a rivet into it, and put a rivet down here, and they're like half and half. So there's a cover in front, but then the actual disc is just down here. You do lose some stability, and also you have to assemble it with like a rivet or something like the figure arts do. So they just have like the push pin rivet thing. This just looks like blobs.
Yeah.
I'm drawing on my phone. I'm trying my best. But I think that's why, because it's like obviously when you look at like somebody trying to do it the best they can with just the way that like you're doing it, you have to sacrifice the fact that there's going to be some bigger gap like that instead of being pointed more, but
Right.
you do gain other things, and so there's always a give and take, and nobody's actually making knees look like how they actually look when they bend, especially because the calf and the thigh compress so much when they bend.
You have to squish.
Whereas you get so much more freedom with the elbow because it's usually thinner, but obviously some characters have pretty thick arms.
I got the black box to disappear by moving my cursor. I nailed it. I figured it out.
It shows me just
One of the other things that's a problem is how much do you cut away? Like, don't get rid of your leg yet. Hold on, leave that there. The other one, don't get that one. Either one, that's fine. Don't erase anymore. Do I have my pencil out? This part right here, like he was saying, you have to have compression on the calf and on the hamstring area. So how much do you want to have? Because we can't have compression, not for a basic action figure. It's going to cost too much.
Yeah.
You can't have a little spring.
Yeah,
loaded
we're
trap
not
door.
doing like
so,
a
so that's
spring
not
loaded
going to
thing.
happen. So you have to have plastic there. So do you carve it away? Do you cut it out so that this calf tucks in? I tend to think that's the right option. So, like, for instance, what I'm doing with my figures, because I'm doing baggy pants, at least for the ones that have baggy pants, I do have it cut out. So, like, that's the hamstring, let's say. You have your joint there. That's the leg. Then you have your calf. All right. I have it cut out, but only in the middle, because this is a sphere, remember? This is round, going around this way. Not really a sphere, whatever, cylinder. So it tucks in here. So on the inside, it's cut out, but then the pants are actually still round like that. So you can hide the tuck completely. And my ninjas that have the baggy pants can do a nice deep knee bend. Not like 180, because you don't need that really. But you can do a real nice deep knee bend. All you have to do is make a little bit of room in there, and you can hide it pretty well. And now, if you don't have baggy pants, for instance, if you just have legs like these, just naked human legs, you don't really need to that much. Because one of the other things these companies do is they don't make the balls, or I mean the discs, the full thickness. They like to make them like this. And then you don't get the right kind of range. So if you make it the full thickness from front to back all the way, you can get a pretty good deep knee bend, even with a nice meaty hamstring. And a bigger calf, definitely like that. Or you can do them like Hasbro's calves, where they stick out like really far. But anyway, you can get lots of range out of these joints, and it's not that hard. You just have to try. You have to think a little bit and try a little bit. That's it. It's super simple, especially when you're dealing with this kind of double disc joint.
You need to make sure that you offset them and then have it so that you want this. Like, let's say you're like, here's the thing. I want to mention that you drew the thigh correctly from the side, and I am very rusty on anatomy. It is.
I'm trying to figure out how to use this stupid app. Where's my selector square? There it is.
What the hell do they look like? Thighs from the side. I was
Thighs
so
from the
focused on the front
side?
one.
All I focus on is the butt cheeks, man. That's like, you get the butt cheeks going.
I really don't understand why I can't erase. Oh wait, I can just use white. Oh, that's not even
hamstring
white. That's awesome.
Going like. By the way, guys, I don't really draw. I'm not a drawer. I'm a sculptor. This is how butt cheeks look. By the way, I'm joking. I purposely made those bad. But that's your That's your leg right there, and then your knee.
Anyway, you can put them back here, but then you have to gauge your range. It's just like the.
Yeah, yours looks alright.
That's fine. You can do this, and then. But you're gonna still want to, like, you might not want to put them all the way in back.
No, you can't put them all the way in the back unless you have the kind of kneecap that tucks in. Because if you bend it, you're going to just be flaying it open all the way.
If you have you have to have a. I'm talking about this not for discs. For the fold, you can't do this for discs. It's not allowed. It just looks like poop.
Can't.
You can only do this kind of stuff when you have separated joints. So that's the luxury of having a full segmented. Which one is that?
I can move it. I can move it.
That's a smaller one. Yeah, you can move it. That's the bigger one. I put that one in second, and I just didn't delete the other one. But yeah, So again, you can only. Why does it make lines?
Are you using a pen on your phone or are you using your finger? If you're using
My
your finger,
finger.
this is impressive.
I use the finger for the whole anatomy drawing. That's what I do. That's what I use. I use my finger, but I
You
can
must have a
erase on it.
lot of practice using your finger to draw on your phone.
Yes, I do. Well, that's what I was stuck with for a while. I
Why
didn't
don't
have
you
a
get
PC.
my brother just gave me his old phone. It's one of the ultras. Get one with the pen on it so that you can draw
I'm
with I
afraid
mean, I
of
guess you don't need
change.
to. I don't
I'm
like
afraid of
it
change.
personally. I don't like the pen. I don't use it, but the phone's cool. Anyway, so that's knees. No, let's talk about
Yeah.
more about the knees because there's also the Revoltech style knee, which is just get off my screen. Why is now the black box is back? All right, so the Revoltech style knee has one joint. And I guess I don't have to draw it. Everybody knows what one joint looks like. It's just a single joint in the knee. I don't mind it. The problem is it's really hard to make the sculpt look good in a lot of ways. So you have to sacrifice either like half the hamstring or half the calf in order to get it to do a deep knee bend, which is okay when you're able to do really robotic looking things like Revoltech figures do. Most of their figures don't look organic at all. So that's fine. Otherwise, there's no way to do that properly unless you're doing it like this new
Are
Goku.
you drawing?
No,
Okay.
no, because I didn't want to try to draw the Revoltech knee from different angles and to talk about how it's all cut up and gross. So, um, so don't do that. Is my opinion. My opinion is do the knee um, like the Goku. So you have the top part of the leg coming down. I'm trying to simplify it to make it as easily
Yeah,
understandable.
this is a lot easier with 3D things.
Right.
But it's also
Uh,
difficult because then you have to make the 3D things. Drawing things in 3D space has I've been out of practice. So
All right. I could whip out ZBrush, but it's a slow process. All right, so that's a good way to do a single jointed knee. Just like the new Goku, you have the top part, it tucks in, you have one joint going through the middle, and the whole thing bends. That's fine. The trick is to keep this part as slim and sleek as possible. You have to make it tuck in, and it when you bend it, so like let's say this is that's the bottom of the knee. You don't want it sticking out over the top of the knee here. It has to be back. It has to be in line with this the whole way so that it's flush. So that every time you bend it, it's still smooth in every direction from the front, from the side. It needs to not have any lips to
also,
make it look
like you
good.
said, it's got to curve. You got to make sure it curves, and you can have something in front that's you can have something that's covering it.
Right, that's true. Yeah. The new Goku looks like it sticks out, like it comes square and then has their wrinkles, and that doesn't look good. I, I don't know why they did that. I don't think they should have done that. And then also for the back, they didn't give it any range because, like I said earlier, they didn't cut out any of this. You just cut out the back of the hamstring, just a little bit, especially with folded, wrinkled pants like Goku's. Just cut that out. Look at all of that room for that leg to do a deep knee bend going backwards. There's the foot. Is there no undo on this thing? Can I try Control Z? Is that going to turn off
And undo.
everything?
There's a little look at the little arrow on the top left.
Oh, top
Or
left.
top
Mine's on
right.
the right.
Top
Oh,
right.
I like that. Okay. What
So
were
also,
you?
if you just do a giant ball, it's the same. It works. I was
Yep.
doing this on trunks before. If you just do a big, giant, huge ball, big balls in this spot, it looks
Big
fine.
balls is the way to go. I've been talking about that for years. Oh, you know
Yeah.
what? We need to do a quick talk on ball pegs, even though I've done this before. Just for anybody who's new out there, big balls, small pegs, great combination. Um, you can use that saying for however you want to use it. But if you're gonna draw, are you still talking about the knee? You finish your knee thing. I don't want to interrupt. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll talk about the balls in a minute.
No, I'm just looking at it and trying stuff. You talk about balls.
Okay, so for the way Hasbro likes to do their ball is you get your ball right there, right? And then you make the socket. Let me change colors for the socket. You make your I'll do this too. Hasbro likes to make their balls and pegs almost the same size, and then their socket goes right up to it. So it
Yeah,
has
it's
no
real
room
cool.
to
It makes
move.
it makes perfect sense. It's just perfect. It makes sense. It only works as a swivel. Why would you want a ball to work as anything
Yeah,
else?
it doesn't work. That's bad. That is no good. That is poo poo. Now what we do want is we want a nice big ball. All right, nice big green ball. You can make the peg small. We're using hard plastics here. They're not going to break if you do it right. So you have a bigger ball and a smaller peg, and then your socket is as little as it can possibly be. But it doesn't even have to be that little. Don't worry about the gap here, by the way. That's just tolerances. That doesn't have anything to do with anything. All right, you can leave just as much as you possibly can. Leave as much space as you possibly can. But if you make a small peg, it's easy because you only have to get just past halfway on the ball, really, for retention, if your socket's the right tolerance. This has like that much range, the tiniest little bit of range on this bad joint. This one, let me switch colors again. We'll use black. All of this range. So you can bring this peg all the way over here, all the way over there. That's better than 90 degrees of range. This one has like that much. And if I'm being generous, and obviously I'm exaggerating a little bit on the Hasbro ones, this one can go anywhere it wants. And it's not hard to do. It's not hard. And if you're doing a neck joint, or actually any joint, if you're doing like torso, it's easy. You can just do two big ones right there. So your chest moves around on the top one, then the adjustable on the bottom. Either way, two big balls, that's fine. If you're doing a neck joint, you put your, I wish you had a portrait. You don't have a portrait drawing, do you?
No, I was working on that one, but then I stopped and I worked on this one. And it's like,
Well, now I'm going to find a new co-host.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. What were you going to say? I'll talk about the head later. It doesn't really matter.
This
what are you
just
doing?
exactly. You can also just do single ones if you're like, I don't want to do more. You probably would do double no matter what. You can always put one down here too and do the same thing, but you want it to be defined by this ball. This ball is going to define both what this is going to hit, and then also how much range you get, and then the limit. So like obviously it's not actually going to be able to bend this low because the cap's going to limit over here, but down here is the limit. So you can just, in a lot of places, you can just put a ball. I don't, because companies do these things where they'll make this torso like this, and it's like ovular, and then they'll have this piece, and it's ovular, and it's like, guys, it can't twist, and then it's just gonna start like bending into stuff, and it's like, I don't want everything to just start bending in everything. It's good having flex, but it's like, no, you can just make it a ball. That's why things are like this. You want things to be balls, at least shaped like balls.
More balls. The more balls, the better.
Balls define everything that you have as far as range goes. Aside from a swivel can always happen on a flat surface, but balls define everything else. So,
and the important thing is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
Okay, then the important thing is, like Brian showed you over here. So this is the ball peg, or the ball, and the peg that connects to the torso. So the whole torso is moving around this green ball. It's just a straight peg. There's not another joint here. And that's how you do it. What a lot of companies like to do is they have their joint. All right, so that's where the torso is cut. Okay, this is inside. This is the abdominal section. Instead of having the ball down here where Brian put it, they'll put a straight peg in here. Hasbro loves doing this and put the ball at the freaking top. Wrong.
Yeah,
that's not where it goes, because your sphere of movement.
You can have an adjustment joint up there, which is what Anthony does. You can have an adjustment ball joint up there that's just for like wiggling to adjust if you know that the ball's not going to be perfect, or you have like details that are protruding and stuff.
Yeah,
but for the main joint, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I was just saying I'm going to show what you're talking about in just a second.
Yeah, you and technically, if you do that, and if you have it cut down like this, and you're like, oh, I want this for like abdominal or upper like chest movement, like posture adjustments and stuff, you can do that. You just better be damn sure that you've got enough joint down here to support it. But you can't have a cut right here and then put it. That doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I do see companies doing that too. It's really weird.
Right. So what I'm doing in my line, and what is the best way to do this, because there's no reason not to, is I should probably move that higher up actually. You have your torso cut. I'll use black, actually. That makes more sense. So you have your torso cut basically where the rib cage is, all right? And then you have this cut down here. So you have your abdominal section and you have your torso section. What Hasbro does is the wrong thing. They don't have this at all. They just have a waist twist. They put a ball up here, so the top just wiggles around. That's useless. You don't want that. If you're going to do anything, You put it down here, and that way you can move around this sphere and you get all this extra range. But the best thing to do, like Brian was saying, is you get all your main motion down here out of the bottom ball, and there's no reason not to put the top ball in. You get a top ball too. So then you can slide the whole thing over and shift it, adjust it in any way you want. You're basically unlimited. And what Hasbro needs to do, what they won't do, is another ball right there that connects into the hips. So that goes into the abdominal section. That lets the whole abdominal section rock around this ball, which gives you this sphere of motion here. This ball gives you the whole torso to move around here. And then you can adjust on top of this ball. You have all that extra range. There's no reason not to do it, and it is the most simple joint. I mean, I guess technically a straight peg. A straight peg is simple. It's just a swivel. But if we're not talking about that, there's no reason not to do that. None. Zero. All right. So that's my talk on ball pegs. Oh, no, it's not. I wanted to go back to the head because Hasbro does the same thing where they don't give you. Well, do I need to talk about the head? It's really the same thing as I just said. Just instead of for the torso, it's the neck. I guess I don't have to really go into it.
This is such a this is such a mess when you look at the page. It's funny. We're definitely. I'm gonna have to figure out. We have shapes. Hang on. But is it just gonna be a whole circle? I need it to be outlined. We're gonna need a new program. Let me undo it. No. Oh no.
Okay, what do we want to talk about next?
I can't undo shapes. I can't undo the one shape I did.
Why? Just
I don't
delete it.
know,
Can
it's-
you drag over it? Oh, you can't drag over
Oh.
it because you're. Oh, I can
Sorry.
click it. You got it.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna just erase all of this. You
Yeah.
did really good drawings. I wish I could draw as nice as Brian. I don't draw. I never really practiced drawing. I mean, I did it as a kid, but I didn't keep it up. I can sculpt. I'm not great at drawing.
And for what it's worth, Anthony knows much more about anatomical muscle groups than I do. I'm better at. I'm good personally with my own proportion stuff. Better when I say better at, I'm not referring to anyone else. I'm saying I'm better at than anatomy. Just because like muscle groups and stuff, I have to relearn. I probably don't even need to because I don't do that.
I could draw an anatomically correct human right now. Every muscle, every nerve, everything.
Well, you know the muscles, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
like
I know the
I'm like
muscles. I
fucking,
don't know the nerves.
like what's happening? I don't know, but I
Okay.
know portions at least.
I'll get my Mario face. They will leave some face on the guy. All right. What did you want to talk about with elbows? You want to talk about elbows and the way they work from the side? Draw Batman. I can draw. I'm not good. It would take me a long time to draw effectively.
So
Some
one of
people
the
can draw
things
with
I
their
like
finger
about
real
figure
quick.
arts is that they do this thing where it's like, because when you bend your elbow, it's like this thing where it's like, my God, this looks so bad.
What
Why
the
does it
hell?
look so much?
I take back everything I said.
All right, here we go. When you bend your elbow, you have this sort of, your elbow sort of protrudes as it slides to the front there. Wait. I'm not going to draw the wrist. It's not there. That's gone. And figure arts engineers do this thing where they're like, oh, so let's actually make it so that happens. So they actually have it so that the bottom joint is right here. This one's right here. So this is offset.
Dude, use a different color for the joint so people can see what the heck you're talking about.
Okay. So the joint is actually structured like this, and it mostly bends on the bottom, and it's offset on the bottom right here. There's blue here. And then this joint typically probably about the same size, but it's mostly like right here because it's not really meant to do anything but move it forward. And then you actually get a really natural looking elbow, which is really cool. Again, you don't always have the luxury of having a small separated joint that works like this, but it's cool that you can do it at least. Knees are a lot more complex, especially with how they change, how the musculature shifts around and stuff. And they also, knee bones have this stupid thing where it like shifts and extends. So knees suck by comparison. But the elbows definitely you get more leeway. And also, even though like this pinched, even though this pinch isn't always where the elbow is, because sometimes it's like it's above and stuff, you can usually just finagle it, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna put it lower because. Well, I mean, what do you? I mean, I have seen companies do, like they start to have it like come out, and then they do a cut right there, and they have this thing sticking out, and it's like, that's stupid. Um, but yeah, this is be drawn over there.
I'm drawing my action figure line arms. I think I actually nailed the drawing. I don't draw. I'm so happy with that drawing right now. It looks like what I was trying to make it look like. It looks like a
Yeah,
microphone, right? No, I'm joking. A little bit.
it does
I'm
look
not
like a microphone.
I haven't drawn in a long time. That's the deltoid. Okay, whatever. You
No,
get it.
I
This
think
is the
it's good.
bicep. It's good enough. So the thing is, people don't often think about this. You have your bicep. You have these shapes basically. A thick one from the side, a thick one for the bicep, and a skinny one down here. This one gets a bigger joint. I'll use a different color. You put a real big joint in down here, covers the whole thickness. None of these, not none of these. A lot of companies, I keep doing that clicking. A lot of companies don't put the whole thickness in here. You need the full thickness. That's what they always told me. Anyway, and so you put that down here, and you can do a much littler one, a much smaller joint right here. And this is how I've done mine. Not obviously drawn to scale or anything. You need very little range out of the bicep. So you only need to cut it like right here. A lot of companies like McFarlane, they cut the crap out of their bicep. They cut a big chunk out of there so they can get their big joint in there that they think they need. They don't. You need just a little cut right there. So your whole bicep sculpt is still there. You have a little bit of room. This is your joint, by the way, right here. Then I guess you can have your elbow as part of it. All right. So you have just a little bit of room for this part to move. And then when you bend down here, you get all of this extra range, and you end up with the same thing that Brian was just talking about. You get your elbow down low, you get all of your bend out of your forearm, and look at this. The bicep's still there, almost no bend here. If you look at the angle for the bicep to the bend, it's way off compared to this is like 90
Yeah,
degrees.
this is the bend. Yeah, the bend's only that much. Yeah.
You get all of your bend out of this joint. And same thing with this, because you get this huge joint, you can cut it all the way down to here because it doesn't affect the sculpt. It's part of the sculpt. So you have all this range of joint down here, just a little tiny bit up here. And what that gives you is, I'm not going to bother drawing it, it'll take too long. You get this out of 2 pins and a basic joint.
How
None of these
I
companies
will
try to do
mention
that.
mine has this one offset. You wouldn't
Yeah.
be able to do mine. You wouldn't be able to do this one with just discs, but you would be able to do this one with just discs because this one is not offset. So
Right. And my elbow doesn't line up. My elbow isn't down here like yours. My elbow's
yeah.
still over here.
So one of these is going to be a lot easier to manufacture and
This one.
probably more durable, and that's the right one. One
And
on the
the other
left
one will look better.
will look better when it's bent, but from the front it'll have a more like mechanical part showing. So,
Now, okay, somebody mentioned Fabian, however you pronounce your name, I'm sorry. Single jointed elbows. So there's 2 types, really. I wish there was like a good eraser. That would be nice. There's 2 types of single jointed elbows.
use the white,
And
use the whitish color.
thought about, I guess I could make it thicker, couldn't I? That's right. That.
It's
So
it's
I'll
not
just
fully white, but it's working.
not that thick either. Good enough. All right, so I'm gonna try to save some of this. Why wouldn't it be fully white? That's the weirdest thing, that it's slightly off white, such that you would never use it for anything. Okay, so you can't use it
It's
to erase, and you can't use it to draw. All right, so this is one of the versions of the single jointed elbow, where you just cut that out, and then your forearm is in here. Great forearm, but you get the idea. And then you have your peg. So your peg goes in here, and you get your disc right here. and that's fine. You're not going to ever get very good range unless you cut this part out a whole lot. So you have to cut your bicep up to get a lot of range. I wouldn't do that because what's the point of a single jointed elbow if you have to cut it up? So you get about 90 degrees out of that, and you get a swivel and a single disc about 90 degrees. It looks better. You can get a more natural sculpt because try the white again. Get a more natural sculpt
For what it's worth,
because
single jointed elbows never work as good as single jointed knees because you can't cut out as much. So it's
just get to you
like
get your sculpts better in your forearms and it lines up with the biceps. The eraser on here is garbage, whatever. So yeah, single jointed elbow, I don't like it. It's did you say it's better than single jointed knees?
no, it's worse. It's
Worse
worse.
than single
It's
jointed
much worse.
knees?
Yeah, I think single jointed elbows are like a if it's the last option because you can't cut out a bunch of stuff
Right. You
in
only
the
get 90
forearm.
degrees. So
Yeah.
90 degrees is it. So that
Or
sucks.
just like a tiny bit better unless you want it to be hideous. So it's like
Yeah. And I did say there are two types. The other type is the same thing without the swivel, which you don't want. So it works even less. So I don't think there's another way to make an elbow that's better. I think you need two joints on an action figure, unless you have a collapsing bicep. And even then, I wouldn't do it. I don't think.
or
I mean, that's like you're
or
trying to solve a problem
using
that's not really
silicone or
there.
something. But I don't want to do any silicone bodies or anything
Yeah,
personally.
F
This
that.
is
No
not
silicone.
if you're engineering something with silicone, you don't even need to do anything. Like you can just do bone structure. Just do it like how bones are set up. That's it. You're
Well,
good.
that's how the iconic toys do that, but they still tear. They tear like
Oh yeah, that's
crazy, and
yeah,
they're impossible to handle. You can't bend it because everything's just sloshing around, so it's no good.
yeah. So since we're on the topic, so when so some elastomers
Oh God, here we
are
go.
thermosets. So what happens is um like imagine like up here you got a couple different atoms and then like two atoms down here. And then these repeat. Now imagine I've made it smaller and now you just have this big string of thing. Now this eventually ends and then you get a bunch of these, you know.
Yep.
Thermosets actually have covalent bonds that combine them individually. And so thermosets when they're tearing, I guess the covalent bonds are breaking. But I don't deal with thermosets often. On the flip side, for the most part, when a thermoplastic is breaking, the chains, the spaghettis, are just starting to separate from other spaghettis. That's it. That's all I'm going to do.
Okay, that is all true. Good information to have. I'll use that information later. I don't know how many of you are going to be engineering your own action figures. If you are welcome to use any of this freely. Okay, I wanted to talk about shoulders. Do you want to talk about shoulders at all?
Yeah, and we do have okay, this is a good time to use the graphic. Oh, it's Batman. Wow.
It's the best Batman. I don't know how
Yeah,
to get rid of
shoulders.
I guess
There's a lot of different ways to do shoulders, especially because the shoulder joints actually one of the things is it's up here. Like and this is something we all
I
know.
can't erase.
When we're all making toys, we all know that the shoulder joint's up high. Obviously, most of the time it's put down here, which is like that's fine, you know. Like, so like when a company does like Figure Arts always puts it up high, typically,
Yes.
and then they have this thing going down, and then they have this floaty cap, and it doesn't look the best, and but it does look really good posing. Well, like when you move it around, it's like oh, this feels like a little human. You know what I mean? Um, but there's so many things that you could do. Like obviously, oh no.
Well, I thought I was gonna move with it. It didn't move with it. Hold on. Where were you? Right about there. I'll just leave it
Um,
there.
uh, you can like separate sections and then do what you want with down here and do what you want. There's so many things. Shoulders are so like okay for me because I'm not usually doing human stuff. I'm doing stuff that's like really simplified, so I can draw the man himself, and he's got like a shoulder like this. Link has a shoulder like this.
Nobody knows what you're drawing right now. That's a shirt sleeve, right? Is that a shirt sleeve?
Yeah.
Okay.
And since it points up like this, I can't really do much with that like that. But like a really good way to do like just really simple linear articulation is just like have this cup here, and then have this be a ball, and then this ball can control rotation for the shoulder too. And then when as this just rotates here, or just hinges. And then, but like he has a smaller torso. He doesn't have a torso like this. It doesn't work the same. These are not the same things. This looks completely. Hang on. It's much more like that. So that's different than that. You can also move the ball closer in, but then from the top, if the ball's closer in, you've got like you can move it in, but then you have to be wary of. I'm not drawing this well. It's fine. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. It always depends on your sculpt. Always. That's why when like neck joints are really, you're not getting things that are just going to go beyond the scope of a normal neck joint. But when you're doing shoulders, you can't just do like one thing fits all. So that's why in his reviews he'll talk about it on a like, oh well, this thing's going, it's going to be different each time.
It's especially true when you're dealing with really skinny. Like sometimes Hasbro's got their shoulder right there, and their pec is not pec shaped right there, and the back is not back shaped right there, and then the top of the body is all the way up here, and then the neck comes out up. Oh, I'm sorry, that comes out back here. And so your shoulder is way too low. It's way out of place in the front and the back. But they're able to do articulation that way because it's the shoulder covers up the whole thing. That's why they have butterfly joints the way they do. But the shoulders are always out of place. The problem Hasbro has is your shoulder, if you have muscles at all, which all superhero characters do, it needs to stick up above the clavicle. So you have your clavicle right there. The shoulder has to stick up right here a little bit if you have muscle on your shoulder, which, like I said, they do. Hasbro shoulders, on the other hand, you have your clavicle, which is the green part. Hasbro shoulders start somewhere about here because, and I'm not even joking, like it's actually that low because their
I'm not
clavicle is
entirely
here,
sure
and then they
what that, like,
also have that plastic that comes around to give them the material to do their butterfly joint, which is not good. You don't do, like, everybody likes butterfly joints, but now your shoulder's coming out, and then as a result, the arms are all the way down here. Get your fist somewhere around their knee. They can scratch their feet without bending over. So you can't do that. You have to have your shoulder up. It always has to be up, especially because when you raise your arm up, your shoulder goes up like this, and then you raise your arm up this way. All right, so when you raise your arm, your shoulder goes up. And when Hasbro's do it, theirs stay down here in the armpit area. So it looks like a man with arms coming out of his armpit. And that's obviously not the way you want to do it. So you need your shoulder to go up.
It seem so not lively. It's like
It looks ridiculous. It looks so unnatural, so inorganic, and not dynamic movement like the Bandai thing. But so here's my solution to it. Because my action figure line has to be as simple as I can make it. Functional, but simple. I have decided to just go with a big round shoulder. So it sticks up at the top, and there's a disc in there, and it pegs into the torso like that. So you get it. It looks completely natural in the front, like when it's not raised up. When it's just like this, it sticks up a little bit. It
are
sticks
you
out a
still
little bit.
toying with the idea of a butterfly?
Yes, but
Okay.
we're gonna have to talk about that another time because,
Okay.
well, I mean, we'll talk about it briefly here because I already mentioned it sort of in this drawing. We'll get to that in a second. So the way I did it is just a big old ball. A lot of companies like to do the bean shape. So they like have their ball here, and then it's bean shaped so that it sticks into the arm and they can bring the arm down lower. That's because they won't make the shoulders broad enough. You don't need the bean. The bean looks weird. Never do anything with the bean. Leave it round. What the hell? It's fine. It's an action figure. So anyway, the point is with this, when you rotate the arm out, your shoulder is still up. it's not as up as it would be if it had like the Mafex joint where the whole thing lifts. But when your arm comes out, it's still upright here because you have a big enough ball that when it rotates, it's still there. So actually, you would have your bicep like at an angle. It still works. My point is, it still looks really good. It's not absolutely
Yeah.
anatomically correct, but it can't be low. It has to be up. So if you do a
Yeah.
big ball on the shoulder, your center point is still going to keep the arm up where it needs to be, up by the clavicle. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, if you do just a ball and it's centered, it's not anatomically correct, but it looks fine. And
Looks
that's what
good.
most toys do. And it's not because it's just because it gets rid of gapping and stuff.
Oh, and the other thing, the bean thing. Did you have more to add, Brian? I don't want to cut you off.
No,
Okay,
no,
so the
but I've
other
cut
thing
you off like 15 times already. So
that's going to happen. That's fine. So they do the bean thing in order to, when you raise the arm up, you see this round part right here. They don't like that because it looks like a ball instead of the natural anatomy. Because an armpit goes like that. Like if your arm's going out this way, and your body's here, and your shoulders here, you don't have a big lump right here. I mean, there's a little bit in there, and there's some tendons and stuff. Whatever. They don't want this. They don't want this here, so they do the bean. The bean looks totally inorganic as soon as you raise the arm out because then you have an arm connected to a bean. It looks super weird. The way to solve that is to have enough meat in your lats, in your sculpt, so that when you raise the arm up, this isn't sticking out. You just need some lats. So you have your pecs, all right, you have your serratus, and then you have your lats that come up and give that V shape that Hasbro refuses to give anybody. If you have this right here, so that they have their torso, your obliques, pecs in there, your rib cage, put your lats out far enough, this doesn't stick out. The silhouette is more important than what's actually there. Yes, you technically have a ball coming out. This would be cut like this, right? That. All right, so you have this cut here, and then you have your shoulder. Yeah, you still technically have a ball sticking out here, but you can't see it. You can't see the ball because your silhouette is hidden by the lats coming out around the back. Mafex tries to do lats, but they're
I
like
love
flat,
how
weird ones.
somebody just joins the stream right now. It looks like we have these two bodies and then scribbles everywhere.
Well, that's okay. That's why you need to be here for the whole thing. But yeah, it's like simple joints, like a simple ball. I can make that look better than every bean-shaped shoulder Hasbro's ever done. Or they do the bean that has the muscles on the outside. I know everybody's seen that Thor figure that has the bean muscles outside of the bean, and it's like an extra layer of muscle out here, so that when you raise it up, it's like you'd have to know the figure to know what I'm drawing. It doesn't work. Okay, now to go back to what Brian was mentioning about me wanting to maybe do. Can I delete your elbow? Do you care?
Yeah. Yeah.
Me wanting to do a butterfly joint. As I mentioned, Hasbro's shoulders like this, and then their pecs are like this, and their backs are like this, and it's easy to do a butterfly joint because there's no anatomy to work with. It's not hard at all. Oops. It's not hard at all for them to do that. But a real person shaped like, oh my gosh, I keep clicking. Their pecs come forward. Like this is not a good pec from the side, but you're gonna get the idea. All right, and then your clavicle's like right there. I'm probably not the best person to demonstrate this through drawing. Your shoulder is back from your pec. That's your pec. That's an Arnold pec, I guess. Get your rib cage muscles. Greatest. All right, you get the idea. There's those the nipple right there. Yeah. All right. So your arm is here. Get the idea. All right. So the problem is Hasbro doesn't have any of this extra meat. And they also put their necks all the way back here, which is not how you do it. Necks go like this. Forward. Right? Your human head is not behind your shoulder. It's in front. I mean, like, posture problems. There's a nose. All right. So there's your abs. The problem I'm having.
If your shoulders are relaxed forward, also,
What?
and if you're in proper posture a lot, when you're in proper posture, your thingies, you definitely do like this and then this and like that and then this Your neck is usually like this, but it can go like that. But that's if you're bent back far enough for proper posture, like really proper posture, where your clavicles and your shoulders are straight.
Mhm.
It depends on the person for like how far back it goes. I see people like I imagine yours shoulders are far back. Mine are pretty far forward. And then I was
Yeah.
just looking at a bunch of male models to draw these,
Yeah, sure.
and it seems like
That's why I was looking at
half
them
and
too.
half. Like half and half. Sometimes people will have it more relaxed even when they're in proper posture, and some people don't have it a little bit further back. I prefer them a little bit further forward, personally. And I also prefer straighter necks. But yes, necks are often like this. Especially one of the big things too is I'm not used to muscle as much. You get a lot of muscle mass back here.
Yeah.
And uh I guess
There,
what we're gonna have to do when I draw the profile view, we're gonna have to like do two or one's adjusted to be like, you know, what one of us prefers more.
well, the reason one of the things I wanted to say is the thing I prefer is because this is like you're never going to find a superhero or a bodybuilder, for instance, where their shoulder is very far forward and their neck is very far
Yeah, it's
back and
hard,
straight
yes,
up.
because the muscles, yeah, it's hard.
It's
It
not going to
kind of just
happen. Whereas the things he's talking about, I'm thinking mostly referring to things like the Sentai guys, where they are very, very slender, very narrow, like they're muscular, but they don't have that, you know, the thing that they do, the meme to make fun of the bodybuilders or whatever, or like superheroes. They're not.
yeah, no,
Those
they're
guys
not
are
bad.
more normal people. And of course, people always comment on my videos about, well, people are different. Some people have longer arms, or some people have longer legs. Like, yes, there's a range for human anatomy. That's true, but most of the times, what I'm reviewing isn't within that range. There is obviously a
Yeah, most
range.
of the time if it's
You can
like I
have your
mean, if it's
shoulders
like
farther forward or
Wolverine,
back.
he's Wolverine is thick as shit, you know,
Well,
he's
that's the
just
thing
like
is there's not range for the comics because we have the source material. We're not creating a new human. It already exists in 2D. We just need to match that. So superheroes' shoulders are back and big, and their necks are forward and meaty, and that's just the way it is. So anyway, all the way back to the butterfly joint situation, because we have a big shoulder here, and then we also have a lot of body here. Whereas Hasbro's, remember, that's their shoulder, that's their body. It has no front to back at all. That's the pec. We'll put a nipple so that everybody knows. The neck sticks straight up like that. It's easy to have a joint here because it's all the same thickness. You can just put a hinge in there and rock it back and forth all day long. On this, you can't do that because if I cut this out, it's not going to have the same kind of butterfly joint a Hasbro figure can have. That's why you end up with these cuts that like Storm does, where they cut out a whole chunk. I guess it'd be like that probably, a whole chunk, and then they just have that floating cap in there next to the shoulder, and that lets the whole thing move around. The problem is when you do that, you end up with this. Look all the way over here on the left. You have to cut out a chunk of the torso, and that ruins the sculpt. In fact, I want to bring up an example here because the best example I can think of is the first Zangief or Zangief. Oh shoot, I didn't. Gotta Google. I can type. Really hard to type when I'm not doing it center. Okay, so how'd I get on Bing again? Whatever. Look here, this is perfect. Toy Arc, thank you, Toy Arc. That looks like crap to me. I don't like, let me get my other drawing app out. This right here ruins the sculpt. Don't want that.
yeah, that
So
looks silly. I
like
agree.
there's better ways of doing this. This is a bad example, but they all look like that to some degree. Some of them cut it out more, so like you cut out more at the top and you bring it down here so that you get more of the pec. All right, and then your nip is up here and it looks a lot more natural, but you still have this chunk and then you do lose more range. So you still have to have a floating piece here, and his shoulders are a little bit low on this figure, but let's say you have your shoulder here. You still have your range from this, but it's not coming around the front. It's like we were talking about with Goku in the beginning. You're getting all your range up here by the clavicle again, which that's easy to do, but not super useful because nobody's like holding a sword. I mean, like obviously you could do one pose where they're holding a sword like that, but if you're holding a sword, you're going across right across the main part of your chest. So you need to be able to go like this, not like this up by your neck. So it's almost useless. And so here's another photo. Oop, still on the wrong. If you, it, the only way to get
Yeah.
around the big pecs is to cut the pecs. I do not want to do that. So I shouldn't say the only way. The only way to do that like this is to cut the pecs. Now their new figure.
That
Oh my
looks
gosh.
weird.
Okay.
Amazon.
So whatever. Their new figure has it a little bit different, but
That's
it
cool
still
looking.
doesn't
It,
look
it,
good.
it looks so much better at least.
It's definitely better. It's definitely better. And he has really weird shaped boobies in the game. And so it's not actually their sculpting that made it
Yeah,
look like he actually
they're
has
so
boobs.
wide. They're so widely
They're
separated. That's
yeah, they're
funny.
separated in the middle. It's like whoever sculpted it didn't realize that that's not how that's supposed to look. They actually look like
Which is
lady
weird
boobs.
because the anatomy is so good otherwise.
Yeah. So that's not Storm, that's Capcom. But anyway, they cut it out in the front part so that he can go across like this, but it still doesn't look good, and I don't want to do that. And especially at a smaller scale, I don't have the luxury of cutting out all these parts and having hollow things with soft plastic. So,
That's
the
it.
other
This is a
option.
good topic though. The I want to focus on the fact that you're like, that doesn't look good to me in something
Mhm.
like this. Like there are some things that I'm very willing to get rid of and be accepting of. There are some things that I will not take. And I per person, it's like, yeah, it's really like it's interesting how different it is. Um
Need to draw one more thing if I can do it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this in any way that actually looks like anything. All right, so this is a top view of a chest, shoulder there, a shoulder there. Back goes like that a little bit, and then their head is right here. Oop, that's good enough. You get the idea. All right, so you have your shoulders here. That the way that they're doing it, that we just talked about, is to cut this away, and that way your arm can come in this way. You can swing it in, bring the arm in that way. The other option, which is the only way I'm really, I think anyway, I don't know, is to swing it out, is to not cut anything out, but to have a chunk inside the body that is on a hinge right there. And that's a more traditional butterfly. Like that's how a lot of the figure arts have done it in a sense, is to have a ball peg or a hinge or some kind of fulcrum right there so that you can bring the whole section out so that it would be like this. Then you have your ball forward here and that your inner part has swung forward off that hinge. I don't really like that because that really makes the back super broad and it puts the shoulder in an unnatural position because the other one is more natural to just crunch into the chest. But your shoulder's actually not moving that much. It moves very little. So to swing it all the way out like that in order to get your arm to go
yeah.
across, which you can get it across more, it I there's no good option to move the shoulder without spending a ton of money for me because I don't like the cuts. If you're okay with the cuts, then the way Storm does it is probably what I would say
I
is the
will
best
say
thing.
it's been cool seeing like companies try different things. There was this some shoulder on the figure arts One Piece thing, along with like one of the I don't know. It's cool to see people try different things lately with shoulders because I feel like there's a lot of untapped engineering choices there that
Yeah.
that people are just not thinking of. Um, because shoulders have a lot of things you can do with them. There's a lot of things where it's just like, well, you just got to put the two things right in one spot. But in shoulders, you got to just this whole, you know.
Yeah. It's a mess. It's a mess, and we're working with plastic, so it's very, very hard to do in any way that makes sense. To find the right balance, you might as well not do it. And so that brings me to my last point about butterfly joints, and I want to see. I'm going to move this before I search because I need to not reveal anything. Find.
What's
All
the
right.
last chat message for you?
The last
That look.
chat message is, well, I mean, if companies are patenting articulation, that kind of limits
It's so.
things.
Why does it not want to update on mine?
Oh, hold on. I'm looking at the StreamYards one anyway. Let me see what the actual.
No, I've been seeing like that looks a lot better from Storm Rising for a while now. I've refreshed this several times. It's been doing this. Okay, there we go. Finally. Come on, YouTube. Oh, it's probably just not going to work now. I think I need
Yeah,
to like
okay,
exit
there
out.
it's caught up for me. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about is my solution, I think, is that I'm not gonna freaking do it. I think I'm leaning towards not doing it because as you can see with my bit oh come on, can I just click on it? I can't click on it?
No,
I'm not
Instagram
logged in.
sucked.
Instagram sucks. Here we go. With my big shoulders that are well placed, I can't even point at thing. I'll point it with my nope, I can't point at it with that either. I point at it with my drawer, my my drawing tool that let me point. Yes, with my big shoulders that stick up and my sculpt that's fairly organic looking. Do I have the photo here? You can get pretty damn good range. It's not here. Oh, okay, good. You can stop. They're not going to let me look at it without being logged
No.
in. I don't even know how to log into my profile. You guys can kind of see it anyway. My figures can two-hand a sword. They can't go all the way across their chest, but you don't really have to because you only have to go
Well, I
right
mean,
here.
when you're buying, there's some toys where it's like I just expect it not to do a certain thing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's definitely a valid thing. I would
Like
assume
like
people aren't
if you
expecting
buy
that because
any
these are
common rider,
ninjas.
the suit is usually preventing the shoulder from going across. It doesn't matter what the
Yeah,
inner shoulder articulation is. It's like you just
yeah,
know. When I bought Fies, I know that the shoulders aren't going to be able to go across because he's got a big giant chest piece in the way, and they're not going to cut that up. So,
yeah.
I mean, it depends on what it is, I guess. It's like, we can do? We can do hips. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to move this, and then you can
I can't draw it from the top view. Top view's hard.
you can uh
You want me to delete everything?
you delete no, just delete everything you see there. So that includes that other picture since this is the small one. You can delete all that. Don't delete Smiley Man yet. Oh, okay, whatever. It's fine.
It was pretty good,
Don't
but
make sure not to get the bottom.
I don't have
Is
it.
that what is that picture? What is that? Oh, was that me? It didn't show it on my end. Okay, so hips. Hips are interesting because hips. So his donkus is right there, but it ends like right here. Like,
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
man, yeah, it does. It ends about. This is where the thing is, and then his donkus is a little bit lower. So the donkus ends like right there, and then these go up like this. Um, your hip is really low, typically right there. So you're fine when you like want to bend it forward and you get butt cheek or something. That's normal. That's expected because that's what it looks like in person. You obviously do include the fact that humans have um crotches. So you typically want to end it like it depends on what you want to do. We want to end the crotch like right here. And then you don't always want to like Figure Arts Vice's thing where it goes all the way up. It's like you really don't need to have that all the time. You might be fine with it. But I think this is fine. I think this is fine. I think maybe.
Yeah, you're never gonna get it all the way up to the oblique and have it functional and look good.
Yeah, you
There's
don't
no
want it to be
way.
okay. Like I mean, it would just look. Yeah, like, and then you can, like personally, I'm perfectly fine with at least that because you don't want it rubbing in. Because you do, no matter what, you're not going to be able to get in because there's a limit to what this can do, like across here. So sometimes you do have to chop. And then, like, on the flip side, you do, or Revoltech does the thing where they're like, oh, well, we'll put this thing that's a swivel that's like this direction so that you can twist the thigh inward at an angle. But then this is maintained to get rid of the gap. It's like, well, I don't want that though. I really like linear articulation. I like it when it's just like, hey, this moves forward and back and up and down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, just make sure you have it set up so that like this section is its own thing. It does its own thing. You can put it more in. I'm gonna keep it out. It's just mostly that the center is usually going to define both how big you want the crotch to appear and then also how big you need the support to be if you're like connecting it.
Well, if you're Hasbro, though, hold on 1 second. If you're Hasbro, you want to put your pivot, your fulcrum, right up against the inside.
I don't
That way you
understand
don't
why
have any range to move the leg out at all. You immediately start bopping into the groin area and creating a big cavity right here. That's really the best way to do it. Being very sarcastic. Stupid. It's the dumbest thing.
this should be more
I'm
like
drawing
this.
something else over here. Let me know when you're done talking about the hip placement.
And then thigh swivel. Again, if you like the things that Revoltech stuff's doing, and you like that the thigh is like off center and stuff, props to you. I don't like it. It's
No, I hate it.
confusing.
I don't think anybody likes it.
I know some people are like, oh, it's fun. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. I'm happy for you. I don't like it. I just like things that like are focused very linearly around what they're trying to define personally. It'd be the same for this. I'm not going to redraw for that section. Make sure I get rid of that. But yeah, just make sure your hip is actually, you know what? I think it should be a little higher. A little bit higher. There. But you do, again, you coverage. You want to make sure that you're not bumping into things and causing all these issues. I mean, you can do it. You can do things where you're getting rid of some stuff. Personally, I don't like it, but I think just having this smaller gap, and then you have to taper into the thigh. Obviously, you're illustrating that the thigh should actually be going up, and like figure art stuff does this thing lately where it's like this is on a ball, and then this actually has this, and then it cuts off like that. And it's like, well, I understand the point. I understand that the point of this is to say that this actually connects all the way up there. So that works too. I maybe don't like it quite as much. Or
I don't.
you can curve it in. You can curve it in if you want. You could just do a solid cut if you want. However, if you do a solid cut, let's say your hip is out here. You do want to still make sure that this is centered to this, because if it's bending, you want the cut to be consistent. Because if it's not, and you bend the thigh outward, this gap is going to follow you forward or backward. If you just center this around the gap or the lower piece, you're fine as it twists. You wouldn't want it at an angle, but this is how Figure Arts is doing it. So, like, I guess I would do it like this. I don't know. I wouldn't do this.
I think the best option is to do the way I'm doing it. No, it depends on the figure entirely, because if you have different types of pants and things, that's a problem. But if you have a naked body or something like a naked body, that's the way you want to do it. And these concepts follow through with a lot of other things too. Like, so this would work for Hasbro. Like, so Hasbro would have their peg going through in the middle here, and then they have their ball, although theirs would be not well placed. Or it's a Figma just by changing it to this, or my setup, or like all kinds of things. These work not just for the ball pegs, which is what it looks like, but as long as you have this circle right here placed properly, you're going to have your hip lined up correctly, because just like on the torso, you have to have everything on the circle, on the sphere. And if it is really a sphere, because if you turn it sideways, it's the same damn thing. Hasbro likes to do this, put them in and up, so that you can't bring the leg out to the side and you can't bring it up all the way without going off of this crotch cut, so that the leg goes off at an angle. It really is just this circle right here. It's a sphere. It goes all the way around in every direction. If you put this in
Yeah,
the
and
right
that
spot,
sphere, if you guys want, you can just if you're sculpting something digitally, you can pop a sphere into anything, and then you can tell yourself where things are gonna bump into things. You can tell yourself the exact amount of range you get. Spheres don't just define the range, they define where things hit and stuff. Because you know, oh, if this thing's extruding, like if I have a hip thing and it's like extruding or something, no matter what, this is going to bump in here, but you can just use this to define that. You could just use this circle to define that. You don't need to know that you don't need to see this.
that's the thing
I
is
mean,
like
you would know.
it's all so simple. That's why it drives
Yeah.
me so
But, like,
crazy,
even
and
if
I
it's
get
simple
so mean in my
geometry.
reviews. It's so easy. What'd you say?
Yeah, it's really just simple geometry stuff. Like you just put in circles.
Yep.
Just
All right, let me
like,
let me talk about one thing I want to talk about. This is a thing I've noticed a lot lately. McFarlane did it with their one guy that looks like a cyberpunk ninja. He's a Batman villain. I don't remember what he's called. And then somebody, I think it was Figure Arts, did it recently. Baggy pants. When they're doing baggy pants, they dangle the crotch all the way down to make it look like the baggy pants are baggy here. But and that's fine in a neutral pose. It doesn't usually stand out. Who was it? Was it Ryu? I think it was the Storm Ryu. They made his crotch
you gotta
super long to make the baggy
yeah.
pants look like they're connected. And that's kind of okay,
You
except you
gotta
do
you
still
gotta
have the Speedo
compromise.
shape. Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm going to get at. When you pose it, that's when it really falls apart because you still have that same circle that Brian had over here. It's still in here, just on baggy pants. So when you move that leg out, it's still coming from here. All right. So then you get this. You're left with a big old dangly part. You don't want that. You have to not do that. As much as you want to try to sell that baggy pants look, bring this part down to where it normally would be, roughly, wherever you want your peeper, and just make the pants as thick as you can. And if it was me, I would make this a soft piece so that they can tuck behind and still move forward without it. You have to compromise. And some people would say you go down a little bit. I wouldn't go down a little bit because I want it when my leg comes out. I don't want to dangle. I don't want any dangling parts at all for my character to do a sidekick. Don't want that. Then the other thing I want to mention is we keep getting this is a sculpt thing, but Bandai loves to do it. We keep getting guys with baggy pants, particularly Goku's, and lots of other people where they either have the thing that Trunks had where it sticks up around the side. I'll use a different color where it sticks up around the side like this. That's no good because as you can see on the naked body, that's not where clothes are going to fall. Unless you have something holding it out, your clothes are going to sit right on the waist and they're going to lay against this leg until there's a reason for them to not be laying against the leg. So you don't need any
And
extra thickness
sometimes
here.
if you're deciding that like if you have a belt and it is pushing something out, you need to make it clear with folds. You have to make it look like it's folds. You cannot define you can't be like, well, because if it looks like it's tight to the body, it's going to suggest to the person that it's just part of the hip. But
Yeah.
if you in
Yeah.
cases where things do decide to protrude, because sometimes when things are tight, you need to show that the folds are there. You can't
Which go
just you
it's
can't just
the
like
go ahead.
no, that's it.
The most recent shirtless Goku had his pants all the way freaking out here like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's there's no
Yeah, the
reason
hip
for it. Let's
flats
say
are
you have the
really
tattered part.
far
So
to
you
the
have the
side.
tattered clothes hanging out up here. Okay, I get it. Your belt is there. It's holding them up. You have a belt. It's a little low here, but you get the idea. So you have your belt holding your tattered clothes that are hanging over. These parts are still, they might poof some. You might get a little bit of poof right here, but not really. It's still going to hang flat against the thigh, especially on a muscular guy. Because on a muscular guy, like these guys are pretty slender. Goku's muscles are out, at least some. All right. He's going to have his Goku muscles where they're all angular, the way they do their muscles. All right. He's going to be thick. So you'll get a little bit of a bulge here at the waist because there's no muscle. There's no muscle where the hip connects like that. So you'll get a little bit of a bulge. But generally speaking, your pants on the outside of the body should be up against the leg. The material should be touching the leg unless there's some specific reason why it's not.
And
It should be laying
Toriyama
on the
typically
leg.
draws it flat in the lower
Yeah.
part, so you probably want to follow that no matter what. Sometimes Trunks, because Trunks isn't coming from the hips, it's coming from like up here. So
Yeah,
sometimes
way
Trunks
up
will have
here.
this thing like this, And yeah, because his belt's up here. This doesn't. It won't look good on a human, or it'll look fine. This is where like Bruce Lee puts his belt. You'll see a lot of people put their belts over here, and it does work because you understand. But if you just have it at the hip's telling you what's happening. It's kind of goofy. It's difficult to understand.
But
Um,
it's still never gonna pop out. Like it's not gonna shoot out like Goku's thing did. It's still gonna lay against the body because there's nothing pushing it off of the body. Not dang like down here we're hanging away from the leg. On the outside, you're hanging against the leg. Your materials go like this. How come? Why is this thing on my screen? Get off my screen! I can't draw. Can I do this? There we
I
go.
think if you're in drawing mode, it's always going to be.
Yeah. So the outside hangs against the leg. The inside hangs off of the leg. So you're going to have your wrinkles like that, and your pants are going to get baggy on here, and they're touching here. So if you had loose pants, you're still going to be able to see the outside of your leg for the most part, depending on how thick the material is and that kind of thing. But that's how that works, and they never do it. They make their baggy pants. I wish we could just like undo everything. Um, Bandai does this a lot, I think, and a lot of other companies do too. I'll just use this. They make their baggy pants as if the leg is in the center of the bagginess. That doesn't serve any purpose because you don't want equal parts baggy on both
Yeah,
sides.
yeah,
That's not how anybody stands. You can't stand that way. And I mean, you could if you put your feet all the way together, sure, technically you can kind of get to that position, and then you have the hanging on the outside and on the inside. That doesn't work for an action figure because you have to put this somewhere. It's plastic. And it still needs to connect right here. So then you end up with that shelf that Bandai does, and you don't want that. You need it to come straight down off of the hip. Bagginess in here. And if you want to fudge it because it's an action figure, center it down at the ankle, but up here, do it. But I'd be fine if they didn't. I'd be fine if they brought it over a little bit even. That's my 2 cents on the baggy pants thing. I've been bothered by the baggy pants for a long time, and nobody seems to care.
yeah. I don't mind. I don't mind it if it well because when you're like if you have a tight belt and then the folds decide to tuck in and then push out, it happens a little tiny bit, a
Yeah.
little tiny. Bit. But yeah, when companies make it protrude like it's this insane thing, uh, it looks bad. It functions bad. Silly. Stupid.
It's all the way around bad. All right, we got a super chat. Got to hit that. Got to hit the super chat. The biggin from Spec Ops Labs for $20. Thank you, Anthony. Thanks for reviewing cool figures. I end up wanting to buy while doing cardio, watching the reviews. I had to throw in the cardio thing, huh, to make me feel bad. I'm joking. I haven't done cardio ever. All right. Also emailed you from my other email about investing in your line. I will look for that. I appreciate the idea of investment. I'm probably not looking for investment. But I do appreciate that. I will look for your email. It probably ended up in a spam folder or something like that. So I'll try to get back to you about that. But thanks a lot for the support. I appreciate that. Very much appreciated. And I will try to find your email. Okay. All right. We are getting close to running out of time. We have 10 minutes left. I would like to announce our contest. We don't have it fully set up like with the Discord connection. So Brian, unless you did that, which I don't think you did, I'm just going to have him email me and then we can share the images.
Would you prefer that anyway? You think you just want
Yeah,
to have people email?
that's easier.
Right.
That's way easier for everyone, I think.
Okay.
Because
I
everybody
just
has
got an ad.
email.
Hopefully people aren't getting an ad while you announce it.
Oh yeah, the ads should be really minimal.
If you
Turn
guys are
them to
getting an
like
ad, go
almost
ahead.
zero. Yeah, just rewind. Like it'll be like 30 seconds. But
Okay. Yeah. We are doing the. You do it. You do it.
I'll do it. I'll do it. The contest. We changed it a little bit. From what I said last time, I said the contest was going to be 2 contests, one for good, one for bad. We're going to nix the bad mostly. So the contest is going to be you email me collection photos of your collection display, not like a bunch of bins or something like that. I mean, you can do it if you want to, but you're going to email me. I'll put the email in the chat, and it's Anthony's Customs at hotmail.com if you need it. You email me photos of your display, not like 30 or whatever. Give me like no more than 3 photos. Okay, that'll make it easy. Yeah, see, no ads for some people. Other people get a bunch. It's weird. Email me 3 photos of your display, your collection display, your room, your rooms, whatever you can, the best way you can show what you have in 3 photos. All right. And then in 2 weeks, Brian and I will have gone through them, come up with some finalists. We're going to talk about it. We're going to show them and talk about them on stream. And we will announce, we will have already figured out the winner, probably. And we will announce the winner on stream, and the winner is going to get a $50 store credit at Big Bad Toy Store. Thanks to them for providing that prize. I will get you in touch with them, or I'll give them your email. However they want to do that, however you want to do that, you'll just get $50 for sharing a photo of your collection. Couldn't be easier. If you win, if you lose, then you should feel bad about yourself. Brian and I will not be participating in the collection things because one, it wouldn't be fair, and two, I don't have anything on my shelf.
I don't have it. I have everything in boxes, but that's why I keep it. So it wouldn't make it.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. So yeah, that's all it is. If now here's the thing, because I mentioned we were gonna do 2 before, that we were gonna do also one where we roast people and we'll give away a prize for the worst one that we want to roast. I don't want to do that, but I will if you want to send them in. If you think your collection displayed up, I don't want you setting it up for this, but if you think it's like notably bad in some way, like I don't know, like it's overly cluttered or it's super dusty or it's like on your work desk and it just looks bad, something like that. If you want to be roasted, you are welcome to send in photos to be roasted, and it may make it onto next week's or 2 weeks, the next stream. We may be able to roast a few people for some laughs. It'll be all in good fun sort of situation. You have to tell me you want that though. I'm not going to take good ones and roast them. That would be mean.
Yeah,
That would be
you have to make
fun.
it
That would
explicitly
be mean.
clear. If you have a bad collection, make it clear that you want us to make fun of it. But
Right.
for the
I'm
most
not
part, send us good ones.
right. Send good ones, make it clear. So just for the email, just put like collection display for the subject or something like that. Display contest, collection contest, whatever you want. 3 photos, no more than 3. Doesn't have to be 3, but no more than 3. I don't want to look through a million of them. If you want to be roasted, you can say, go have at it, roast me, make fun of me, do whatever you want to do. And we may do that just for fun. We'll mix that in. But that is the contest. It's super easy. Like I couldn't come up with an easier way to do it that would be fun to share. I think it'll be fun to go through the photos and talk about it a little bit because I think everybody likes to see other people's displays, different
Yeah, it
ideas
is.
and
I
stuff
think
like that. I love it.
it's also fun to just like spot things, collections.
Yeah, you,
Like
you
I
get
spot.
to see different collectibles, different ways of displaying that kind of stuff. So it'll be fun. We'll go through, I don't know how many.
Are
We'll
you gonna
see.
make
If we get a ton, go ahead.
Are you gonna make an actual video announcement?
I don't know. I kind of want to make it just a live stream thing. I want it to be for the people here.
Okay.
I might. No, I don't think so. I think for this one, it should be just the people here. I don't know. Should I do it? Should I
Maybe
do a thing?
I
It's
think
gonna be a
maybe we
lot
should make a
more.
post. You should make a post on your profile.
Yeah, maybe I'll make a post. I don't know. I want
I'm
it to
sorry.
be. I don't know. Either
It's
way,
up to
you
you.
guys
It's
are
up to you.
you. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out because if I do like a video, that's gonna be a ton of people. I don't want to do that. I think
Yeah,
we
but what if
for
we only
now
get
it'll
like
just.
2 submissions? Because there's what 181 people watching.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, guess we'll have to play it by ear. If we don't get enough submissions, then maybe we
Yeah. How about that? How about
extend it a week.
deadline is tentative.
So here's what we'll do. The deadline will be next stream. No, like the Friday before the stream. That's what we'll do. All right, the Friday before the stream. And if there's just
And
not enough to do it, like if it's only 3 or 4 things, I guess, I mean, you could say, hey, that's not fair. You should pick from those 4, but that's not going to be fun for anybody. I'll announce it
yeah,
again and we'll push it out another 2 weeks. The whole point is to have fun, right? So
yeah.
we're going to do that. We'll push it out if we have to. But I think we have enough
As you
people
can,
watching that it'll be worth doing. That's my guess.
you guys can tell by these pictures, we are all very professional on this stream. Everything we do is calculated and determined months in advance.
If
Months.
you look at these drawings though, they don't look terrible. You could definitely think we knew what we were doing. This is Batman's cape. Nailed it.
Perfect.
So yeah, that's the
Perfect
giveaway
copy.
or the contest. It's not a straight giveaway. It's gonna be participatory. Super easy though. The email address is, I'll put it in the chat, but it's anthonyscustoms@hotmail.com. Spell that correctly? I think I did. So that's what it is. Super easy. That's all. And like I said, hopefully, I think that'll be enough. I think maybe pairing that with the dryer stream wasn't the best idea. I think we might have lost a few people in the weeds here, but that's okay. If we have to, we'll extend it out a week, and it's no big
Yeah.
deal. Whoops. But that's it. Okay, we have like no more minutes. So, is there anything you want to address or talk about very briefly before we go?
No, I am good. I think it's time to end it.
Well, I had fun drawing on my tail. I haven't touched this pen in so long. Or he's got a belt on. He's got a belt. Okay. Yeah, don't send anything inappropriate. That would be a waste of your time because I can easily just not. Okay, so that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. We will do this again in 2 weeks. Hopefully, we will be announcing a contest winner and going through the submissions, and there'll be other topics too for that live stream. But that was it. If you guys like this sort of thing, there's still more articulation to talk about. So you can
If you
let us
guys
know.
have
We can do
feedback
that.
about what you think we should do about like if you're like, oh wait, I have a really good idea for how you can draw out articulation and make it look like really aesthetically pleasing, or like I know this program that just lets you do shapes and it's really good and easy, definitely let us know. Because
Yeah.
we sometimes have to wing it, and like I was mostly just focused on drawing the anatomy stuff. I was like, oh, it'll be fine when we draw out the joints and stuff. Seeing it now, well, first off, this program is a lot worse than I expected it to be. But
I think it worked.
again,
Okay.
suggestions help, because sometimes we're just not thinking about the thing, because we want to be thinking about the joints, not a program that we have to show you the joints in. So
I think it worked out okay. First person to guess this wins exactly
Yoshi.
nothing. You win, but you can't participate, so it has to be someone else.
Oh, okay.
I can never get past this area right here. I know he has got these things, but I don't know how his neck looks.
He doesn't have
Mouth
one.
is real bad. He doesn't have a neck?
He kind of like divots in on the classic Yoshi, but ever since Yoshi's story, it's
Oh,
mostly just
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we got a super chat. Hold on. Let's do that. I don't need this up anymore. Did you think about picking up the NECA Sesame Street to review? I like them. Wanted to see a review on them. I did not. I have just zero interest in that, and I'm not real happy with NECA at the moment. So I've not done that, and I don't think I will. Probably not. Also, I can't find anything they sell in stores, and so I'm not real inclined to put any effort in. But you never know. Perhaps. I doubt it. I really. Okay, so if you guys have ideas for what you want us to talk about on stream, also it kind of to play off of what Brian was saying, you can let me know in any of my videos, any of the comments. I see all the comments, whether it's a new video or an old video. Say, hey, what about this for a live stream, or what about that, and we can try to tailor our stuff to what you guys want to see. I know this one was a little bit drier, but some people are really into the more technical side. Some people aren't. Some people just want us to talk about the different brands or whatever. So we have to try to play that the balancing game to get everybody engaged and everybody happy. So if you have ideas, let me know. We'll try to balance it off. The contest will run through the Friday after next, the Friday before the next stream, assuming we have enough entries, and then we will just be showing those off and picking a winner. But that'll do it. So thanks for being here, guys. Thanks, Brian, for another delightful. What's the word? I can't think of words anymore. Back and forth conversation, back and forth. I can't.
Yeah, this was fun. This was fun. Nice and relaxed. Thanks everyone for having me again. This was fun. I hope everybody had a good time with the scribbles.
I think the scribbles were okay. I think we made it. You can draw better than I can, but I think it was clear enough that they could probably see. I hope. Again, if you guys have feedback, throw it in there. Don't throw it in this chat right here. This is going to disappear. throw it in the
Yeah, throw it
comments
in the
after the
comment section.
video. After the video goes to like a video on demand thing, comment in
You
there.
don't you don't
These
you
comments
don't need to make
disappear.
an Outlook account just for the contest. Don't you have an email?
You can use any email you have. Somebody saying they have to make an email? Oh, well,
I
you
didn't
have
know
to
that was
have an
on.
email to have a YouTube account. um, you'd like to see us don't oh, I appreciate it, Justice Magnum. Post that somewhere else so that I'll be able to see it. A normal video comment. These comments will disappear. I don't have the
Yeah,
video comments being saved. Comment on the
I 'cause
video
I agree
after
with
it
that,
publishes.
but we're going to forget that.
Yeah.
So comment that on the video.
Okay, that's it. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching again every 2 weeks, Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, every 2 weeks. So, 2 weeks from tonight, that's when we do the live streams. Otherwise, I have videos every single day, and I do have thousands of videos already on the channel. So, make sure you subscribe for all of that. I did it. I did it without screwing up. And in the meantime, keep collecting.
Wow. That that was the messiest, but it was